so a moment to update you guys on what we've done so far. Billy and I have, at this point, tacked on some vertical tube onto each one of the control arm brackets, which we've notched and used a straight bar to make sure that it's square. So the next thing that we're doing now is making some marks, because the objective is to build a subframe around the drive unit, similar to what I've seen in pictures online for the factory drive units from Tesla. So the next step is making some marks so that we can bend the tube to follow the shape. And that's what we're doing, where we're at so far. So stay with us. We're gonna go move on to the tube bending section here, whip out this tube bender and see what we can do to follow the shape of this drive unit the best that we can. If you guys are liking this video and appreciating us including you on the research and development of this, be sure to hit the like button as well as comment below. It helps us with the algorithm in YouTube and ensures that we're able to answer any questions or feedback that you may have. Also, turn on notifications and subscribe to the channel if you want to see projects like this and other projects in the shop. You never know what we're going to be working on next. We don't just work on Mitsubishis. We've done Hondas, we've done Ferraris, we've done Audis, we've done BMWs. So you just never know what's going to come through the door next. a bit of a detailed update for you guys because I know that you want to stay in the loop and see the entire process with Billy and I as we go through this. At this point in time, what we've done is we figured out how we wanted to connect the frame rails, okay? So initially the discussion around this build and how we were gonna do it was, we wanted to make it a bolt-in application so that those of you that may be interested in this, which I've had a couple of people reach out and express that, this is something that you could install yourself with a standard set of the well-known Hochman Fabrication and Speed quality of instructions, which are very detailed and would ensure setting up anybody that wants to do this for success if purchasing this as a kit. So what we're doing to make it a bolt-in application is we're integrating it into the control arm bracketry that has already been pre-built by Dan over at Diamond Race. This is basically a half-finished rear subframe that he makes for the gasoline engine setup, the original 4G63 drivetrain. And he sold it to Armin, the customer that we're working with here, partially assembled so that we could work off of that frame. And ultimately, if we do build this into our own product and jig, I wouldn't be using his exact design for proprietary reasons, of course, but this is a good basis for us to work off of. I know Dan, I've spoken to Dan, I actually run his product, so there's open communication and he's well aware of what's going on here. And with that being said, what we're doing now to keep it bolted is we've drilled 2 holes into the frame rails on the back side of the vehicle on each side. We've built coupling style brackets that basically grip and hug the frame rails with 2 8.8 grade bolts and nuts that are going through that frame rail. We've then bent a chromoly tube. This is 1.5 inch chromoly with 83 wall, and we're going to use that to then tie in the chromoly bar that's going to go along the side of each side of the drive unit and follow the shape of it to the back side. So then that becomes the next question, and what I'm showing you now is where are we going to tie it in on the back side, or rather the front side of the engine, or the drive unit for that matter. So what I've got here is the plan. The next step in this is I've got over here some tie-in points from the factory rear subframe as discussed before, and ultimately what I've got is some bolts, which, as you can see, since I didn't have what I needed on hand, I went ahead and just made the length that I needed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this slug, which I've got to measure the diameter, and we're going to insert this into the original connection point for this rear subframe. It's a little bit longer than I needed, of course, but I can always trim that down. Got the actual bolts that come with this with Armin, so we'll get those from him. So on each side of the rear here, we're going to tie into those, and then the next thing I'm going to do is take a chromoly piece and I'm going to go from here to here. Okay, and what that's going to do is it's going to allow me to tie in the bar that comes in from the front, and it's also going to allow me a point to tie in the bar and run across similarly in the front of the drive unit, since we're now in the front of the vehicle versus the rear where we were before. So then we'll have 2 bars that run on the back side to tie into, and then I can run around this frame and build the bracketry. Now I know that was a lot of words and probably a terrible description or an explanation of what I'm trying to do, but I'm doing my very best to keep you guys well informed with details along the way. I'm going to go ahead and move forward with making that so that I can show and tell what I'm doing here, but ultimately that's where we're at and where the next step is. With that being said, we appreciate you joining us for this episode, and Hope that you like what you're seeing. If you have any feedback or comments, please leave them in the comment section below. The more engagement we get on videos like this, the more YouTube is going to support what we do and allow us to continue building projects and supporting customers that want to try crazy ideas like this one. Let's go ahead and get started.